Does Florida State dip into the portal / get one from their coordinator for a veteran arm to come into the program?
I'm very torn on this. I don't know the answer to that, so I have to give an answer, so I'll say no. But what I'll tell you is that I really don't know what Mike should do here. It was an impossible assessment period with these two kids. They have not been given a fair shake. They have not had a fair shot. They had nothing in the way of a semblance of an offense to run. They could not block. They could not run. And you're throwing them into the mix in impossible circumstances with a team that is completely checked out, a dead team that doesn't care, and said, go get them, boys. Go get them, and I'll judge how you do and decide whether or not you're the guy for the future. Man, I don't know if we're going to keep both, if we're going to lose both, or if we're going to lose one. Any of the scenarios would make sense to me at this point. If you can get a surefire quarterback in the portal that you know has done it at a high level, whether he comes with a coordinator or not, I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I don't – listen, if they both announce in the moment that you bring in another player from the portal to play quarterback that they're leaving, you give them a hug and you say, I'm so sorry. I butchered this. I screwed it up. Best of luck to you. You're fine, young man. You've worked very, very hard. You deserve to have success, and I hope you do. I wish you nothing but the best. And if they stay, great. Then you know they're made of some tough stuff. But man, it's unfair to them, and but also if you're Mike, you got to win, and you've got to win right effing now. And if you've got a guy that's coming out of his junior season and he threw for 3,800 yards and 25 touchdowns to 5 picks, and he's mobile. Because, by the way, that's a requirement of mine from here on out forevermore. You better be able to move. Now, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but you better at least be Baker Mayfield. You got to be able to move. And you know what I mean by that kind of mobility. Like, he's functionally mobile. He makes things happen. So, I don't know. I feel very bad. This situation is one that bothers me. I know you get upset when you talk about Toafili. I get upset for these two kids. They got screwed. This is a nightmare.
Well, both of them are functionally mobile, so they would check that box. But yes, in terms of what they have about,
we don't know what they have. I mean, they both have some tools that I like, but they really couldn't illustrate them for very long periods of time.
Yep. Second down is a yes or no. 7-5 is acceptable next season.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, buddy, we're 2-10, and our wins are going to be over Cal and Charleston Southern. Yes, 7 wins is acceptable next year, and it doesn't depend on how it looks and who you beat and who you lose to. They always do, but yeah, you got Alabama on this schedule next year. I
find that interesting, just because you lean on it can flip fast more than most people do. So even with that.
I don't think it can flip as fast as, say, Corey Clark or others in this staff think it will. I mean, they're out here talking 10-2 and 11-1 possibilities. I don't know about all that. I do think modern college football lends itself to this. I do. I believe that teams that are going to win 5 games one year and 10 the next, and then back to 4 and then up to 11. I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see lots of examples of that. I think that college football fans have to become pro football fans. They have to understand that just because you win the NFC South last year doesn't mean you won't finish last next year. Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. Unless you have a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Like, we judge the consistency of NFL teams solely by who your quarterback is. If you've got an elite one, you have high expectations. If you don't, you could win the division and you could be dead last the next year.
Third down, you are personally more interested in the defensive coordinator hire or the offensive coordinator hire?
Defensive coordinator hire. And I run counter to most people because our offense is the worst in the country and people want to know how that's going to get fixed. It'll get fixed when you can block. Any offense you run operates at a high level if you can effing block, but they can't block. And so I put it at the feet of this offensive line coach that was fired, rightfully so. I put it at the feet of that offensive line, which is underachieved across the board and has for years, I might add. Pre this staff, you could go on and on and on to our offensive line troubles. I care that we play a rugged form of defense that triggers downhill and intimidates people and knocks the bejesus out of people, is borderline on the edge of being too much. That's what I want to see, because that's how defense should be played. I want to strike fear in the hearts of all men that play Florida State. So there you go, defensive side of the ball.
Fourth down, let's see, which direction could we go here? Outside of offensive line, the most important position to correct through the portal is?
Well, it's always got to be quarterback. It just, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, we could argue about semantics, correct. He got it wrong with DJ, obviously. Again, that could be rooted in the offensive line troubles. I don't love DJ anyhow. I don't want him back whether they have the best offensive line of all time.
Well, but that tells you about the assessment. Again, just by nature, he's not on campus in your uniform if you believe that your offensive line's no good. That's just, he's the last person in America that you would sign in that situation.
Yeah.
So it was a miscalculation to the hilt. Okay, let me revise it. I take quarterback off the board. Offensive line is a humongous priority. Quarterback's off the board. Where are you going? Where are you spending money?
Wide receiver, I think probably.
Not defensive line. I find that interesting.
Well, you're right. I just got done saying defense is the most important thing, though. I didn't want to be redundant. Yeah, I mean, I think it's included in my imploring that we get the defensive coordinator right, that part happens as well. I also happen to think a couple of the big guys on this defensive line are coming back. But as far as
is that a good thing?
Well, I think Josh Farmer can play.
You think Josh Farmer could be back?
He hasn't had a great year. He's gotten screwed because of what's around him. I think he can really elevate his draft stock. I mean, this is the conversation I'd be having with him.
Well, the other conversation you have is, are you going to have a dalliance with Miami again? Are you going to threaten to go in the portal?
You can leave then if you want to do that.
That is a zero tolerance deal, yeah?
Yeah, you got to be cold-blooded from this point forward because you don't have time, Mike. You don't have time for this nonsense. The guy wants to be here, he doesn't. If you want to take it on down the road, take it on down the road. See, this is what got you in trouble anyhow. We didn't hold certain people's feet to the fire across the board with consistency, and that means guys on your own staff. You did not make your coaches go out and recruit the way that they should have been recruiting, and that's on you. But also, we live in the dawn of a new age when it comes to player moving and coming and going. I don't think you can have time. You got to cater a certain amount because you have to have NIL opportunities for players, and obviously money weighs into that. But if you're going to try to use this against me month in, month out, you don't have the character I need for you to be here. You can take it on down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. I don't have a fifth down fan.
Well, you don't need a fifth down, though. We're good. Those are 4 good downs.